The ocean is changing colors. That might sound like an overdramatic headline, but it's true. And researchers say there's a good chance this is just the beginning. Researchers recently published a paper describing how the ocean is getting greener at the poles and bluer toward the equator. And it's all because of microscopic marine organisms called phytoplankton. To see this for themselves, the researchers analyzed 20 years of data from NASA, satellites that measured how much light of different wavelengths was reflected or absorbed by the ocean surface from 2003 to 2022. They also used data from NASA's Moderate Resolution Imaging Spectroradiometer, or MIRI, on board the Aqua and Terra satellites to measure chlorophyll concentrations. Chlorophyll is a pigment that gives plants and phytoplankton their green color. Phytoplankton absorb light energy to power photosynthesis, so more phytoplankton generally means greener water, while less phytoplankton can make water appear bluer, since blue light is ENB being absorbed and is instead being reflected. Using these data, the researchers were able to map changes in ocean color around the globe. Overall, they found that the ocean has darkened, shifted toward the blue end of the spectrum from 2003 to 2022. Specifically, waters around Antarctica and the Southern Ocean have become greener, while those around the equator have become bluer. The change has been about 1 unit on the color index scale, which may not sound like much, but it's actually enough to be detected by the human eye. Now, before you start freaking out, it's important to remember that the ocean is still, well, blue. Even the areas that are getting greener are still blue. The researchers also want to stress that the study period is too short to definitively say that climate change is the cause. But they did find that warming ocean waters are strongly correlated with the change in color, so they think it's likely that rising temperatures are having an impact. The thing is, phytoplankton are super important for the health of the entire marine ecosystem. They're at the base of the marine food web, meaning they're the foundation upon which the rest of the ocean's food web is built. Tiny crustaceans called zooplankton eat phytoplankton, and then little fish eat the zooplankton, and so on, up the food chain. So when phytoplankton populations decline, it can have ripple effects throughout the entire ecosystem, potentially impacting fish populations and the fisheries that rely on them. And since roughly 3 billion people depend on fish as their primary protein source, changes in fish populations can have major implications for food security, especially in low and middle-income countries. On top of that, fisheries are a major economic driver for many coastal communities and countries. In 2022 alone, the global commercial fish harvest was worth over $163 billion. So if the ocean does continue to turn blue in the tropics, it could have serious consequences. But we already know that phytoplankton populations vary naturally over time and space. So more research will be needed to determine whether or not this trend will continue, and if it is caused by climate change,